Go live. Tommy, you ready? Good evening. We are now live on the World Wide Web and back. For all of those who are listening in the Foreign Armed Services, I want to tell you that Jerry Petito is in the audience and welcome him. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Thanks for being on our audit committee. Good evening and welcome back, board members. We have a really busy night. There's no need for an executive session this evening. However, I want to begin this kickoff with letting you know where we are in terms of opening of school readiness. And I'm going to ask Mr. Smeal, Ms. Massaro, Mr. Graneri, and Mr. Corella to smartly and efficiently give you an update on the status of opening of schools, which is 2 weeks from today, actually. 2 weeks from today on September 7th. And I'll talk more about that. But let's, I think what we'll do is we'll start with Earl Smeal. And Earl and his team have worked very hard this summer. And Earl, if you would just take the board and the viewing public very quickly and smartly through where we are maintenance readiness wise. We'd like to really have this total presentation be about 30 minutes. So Earl, take about 30 seconds. No, go ahead.
You got it. Thank you very much for affording me this time this evening. The building, I'm just going to go through the bullet points quickly, and at the end, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Building fire alarm system testing is ongoing, currently at about 95% complete. Only a little bit of work left to be done with the fire pumps for the sprinkler system at Niagara Falls High School. All the playground safety inspections have been completed. The cleaning of the district buildings. Now, I did this before I went away last week. We're probably at about 90 to almost 95%, which is about as good as we've been for about the last 3 to 4 years at this time. All district backflow preventers have been inspected and certified, and the DOH and the water board will get that report early next week. The main arena, weight room, powerlifting room, the yoga room, the media center, soffits, and pillars at Niagara Falls High School have been repainted in anticipation of the rebranding that you may be aware of as part of the capital project. We're only waiting on some new vinyl graphics that will hopefully really spruce up the high school as part of the rebranding. The replacement of the boiler at the DeFrancesco Center, you may remember we discussed this at some length last year. It has been completed. Tomorrow morning, my staff will be on hand with J.W. Danforth for the last thing that needed to be done, and that is a combustion check of the boiler, firing system, and my staff will be there to learn the ins and outs of operating it tomorrow morning. Replacement of the boilers at Believable Bond Elementary is ongoing. The boilers came in about the first week of August, and I am keeping one of the old boilers up and operational, and it is hooked up to the header and the breeching so that we can be certain to have heat until the new one is up and running, which they will pipe it in completely, the new one, and then only have to close the header valve on the old one and open the header valve on the new one. We'll be on the brand new boiler while the second boiler gets replaced before winter, okay? So that's that slide. The district also this summer switched away from Hillier custodial products, and we have gone with Core Distributors, which is, you're probably familiar, a local custodial supplies supplier, and they are a WBE, which is good for the district because that will increase how much money we're spending with WBEs. So that's helpful. We are keeping 2 of the buildings with Hillier products where we've moved all the other products from other buildings to those 2 buildings, Niagara Falls High School and Abbott, until they're used up so that we don't waste any product. We replaced 9 kitchen ranges and 2 steamers this summer as part of an upgrade to, well, 9 kitchens all in. All the elementary schools got them. Performed all moves for the installation of the interactive whiteboards. Ray will probably report in more depth on that at Abbott, Gaskill, and Henry J. Kalfas. The building condition survey is roughly 90% complete. I had a quick conversation with CPL this morning regarding that. We're probably looking at about 2 months before the building condition survey is an actual deliverable to the district, but it is not due at SED until March 1st of 2024. And last but not least, I just had to mention it. The maintenance department, several of the shops got together and assembled a trailer with an air compressor and sandblaster on it so that we can do our own graffiti removal. On our older buildings with the stone, the chemical removal of graffiti often isn't great, and we've been paying Morris Masonry to come in and either, depending on the situation, do dry ice blasting or sand blasting to remove the graffiti. The last PO I had to cut for that, one PO for one incident, was $3,500. The entire trailer for all the equipment and the trailer came to about $5,000. So we'll pay for it with 2 graffiti removals.
And we're not inviting graffiti.
No.
Okay, but this is not an invitation to test the machine out. But if we are unfortunate to have that, Earl and team know that it's the broken window theory. I want it removed immediately. And I think this is a good addition to your repertoire of things that you can take in within the district immediately.
So that's my report. Any questions, any concerns, any comments? Please. Happy to do what I can.
Just want to thank your crew. The cleaning looks great. I know Frank at the high school has the biggest lift oftentimes, and he's in really good shape because of the summer programs at Cataract. That's the second school that we often worry about, but Cataract is in good shape. We will be maintenance ready for the students or for the staff, which starts next week, just as important, but the students on the 7th. And there's many more things that are all completed that aren't listed, but good summer, good summer of maintenance work. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Batting second and playing shortstop.
Number 13, Dave Concepcion.
Batting second and playing shortstop from the Human Resources Office, Maria Massaro. So Maria is, it's sometimes hard to find 5 minutes because she's with people constantly. And she, along with Rick and Cynthia Jones, who's here, just finished an excellent week of new teacher orientation. So before she gets into this, I want to thank Maria, Rick Corella, Cynthia Jones for leading new teacher, new staff orientation. Among all of that, Maria has done a good job with staffing. I'll let her go through this, and then I'll give you some concluding comments. Maria?
Thank you. So I think saying that staffing has remained fluid over the summer is really an understatement, but there really is no other way to put it. We've had retirements, we've had resignations, we've had leaves of absence, and they continue, and they have continued today, and they'll continue next week. So we are really just shifting every day as far as our staffing needs are concerned. Over the course of this whole summer, we have hired or rehired 190 staff members. And in the next 2 slides, this one and one other one, I'm going to tell you how that breaks down. So one administrator, we've hired an assistant principal. You will see that on your, or you have seen that on your personnel report this evening. For our staffing update, we've put before you appointments of 149 members of NFT. 107 of those were rehires. So in June, when you did all of that regular sub rehiring, you rehired many of these people. There were 108 teachers. Now, the additions: 2 art teachers, 1 business teacher, 1 health, 1 music, 4 physical education teachers, 1 PSA, 1 speech teacher, 2 special education teacher, and 1 technology teacher. These are the additions, okay? These are not numbers that were included in that 107. Then we had 2 school psychologists, 3 counselors, 1 social worker, 26 teaching assistants, and 9 pupil service assistants. That was just for NFT.
I wanted to just, if you could go back one moment, I wanted to just highlight, you might say 4 phys ed teachers, what's going on there? Music, 2 art, what's going on there? With the approval of the new contract and the additional minutes, that our elementary students will receive in physical education, art, and music, we anticipated and needed to hire those positions for the longer day and for the increased number of minutes for our elementary children to get phys ed, art, and music, which we put a lot of value on. So thanks, Maria. Go ahead.
Okay, so our current unfilled positions on the certificated side. We need a science teacher. We need 1, potentially 2 special education teachers. We need a school psychologist, and we have substitute needs. And right now, we are very excited about a new grant that we're hoping to get, which is a resident teacher grant, which differs from the residency that you normally think about. These are residents like you think of doctors. So they'll come, they'll do their student teaching with 1 teacher for an entire year, but during the course of the entire year, they'll have 2 to 3 days a week that they can also serve as building-based substitutes for us. We are beginning the program with the University of Buffalo. We have 2 residents that are beginning in social studies, beginning on the first days of school, and we are hoping to hire an additional 40 teachers if we receive the grant through the Department of Labor.
And just to be a little more didactic about that, the grant will bring us 40 people. A large chunk of their college tuition will be paid for through the Department of Labor. I'm talking maybe $24,000 of coursework. We will have the rest of the money to use to help support the fact that they will be subbing as building-based or school-based subs, and they'll work every day, and they'll take their coursework at night or on Saturday, and hopefully from that 40, they will promise that they will come and work in the district if we have an opening for them. We are waiting for the Department of Labor to grant us this grant. We did get 1 good sign. I considered a good sign when the Department of Labor writes back on the application and asks us for clarification on 2 parts of it. If they were going to throw it out, they probably would have thrown it out. But they brought back 2 areas of clarification on our spending, which we immediately answered, or Maria immediately answered. I think that's a good sign. So any day now, we're going to be moving forward with that.
Moving on to our other units, our non-instructional administrator and supervisory unit, we hired a nurse practitioner working with Dr. Silveroli. In the CSEA unit, we've hired 8 folks over the summer, 1 accountant, 2 secretaries, 2 safety officers, 2 systems engineers, and 1 network technician.
I want to just say here, if you don't mind, Maria, the nurse practitioner has been a major help to Dr. Silveroli. Dr. Silveroli has to deal with 7,000 students, 1,400 staff, 1,800 athletes. I think this was our best summer with sports physicals. 500 sports physicals completed. So our nurse practitioner addition has been an excellent hire. I also want to point out, and Mr. Petrosian, member of the board, I'm going to ask before you do the personnel report that Maria will go over in a minute. The accountant that we hired is a very high quality person from an accounting firm. She is a city resident and she is a minority. And it is a really great hire. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our record of hiring everyone that's on these reports, but especially in a top level position for Becky and Julie like that, to be able to have a local accountant who is a woman of color to join our staff is, I think, a real coup to Becky, Julie, and Maria. Thank you.
In the teacher associates unit, we've hired 25 people. This is an additional 25 people. We rehire the associates every year, so we're rehiring about 225 people, but for new staff, it's 25. 6 assistant childcare associates, 4 special education classroom, 2 pre-K, 2 phys ed, 1 library, and 10 building-based associates. Now, the building-based associates program has been extraordinarily successful for us in helping staff the schools every morning when the principals need the assistance of an associate. One of the agreements that we had with our union was that when positions came available, we would hire the building-based associates into those positions. So those positions that you see that we hired, we pulled from our building-based associates for them. And so these are relatively new building-based associates, unless there were folks that told us, no, I'm really not interested in the full-time position, I'd rather remain as a building-based associate, but they're not counted in the 10 new staff. Head Start, we've hired 6 folks in Head Start, 2 Head Start early Head Start teachers, 1 program manager, 2 early Head Start teaching assistants, and 1 nurse. We had our new staff orientation today, as Mr. Laurie indicated. Actually, Mr. Corella and Mrs. Jones had the whole week. The HR portion of it was today, and we had classified staff is happening on August 29th. Wanted to put some things into perspective for you. We have 1,452 people that we employ. 6 administrative contracts, 24 administrators, 9 non-instructional administrators and supervisors, 713 NFT members, 292 CSEA, 227 TAL, 34 Head Start, and then subs in all areas, and I wish it was just in teaching, but it isn't. It's subs across the district, 147. So those are our current active employees in the district.
That is a tremendously large number. 1,452 employees. That is we are a very large employer. Our support is in people who support children. And that's the philosophy we work under when we can afford it. Fortunately, you've been financial stewards. We can. I just want to reiterate something. If school were to start tomorrow, so we're very, very clear, and Maria was right. There's ins and outs all the time. But we are short of special ed, science, and school psychologists. But she will work very hard over the next 2 weeks, and if not, we will be very creative in making sure the kids are covered. But that is a lot of people that you employ, and it's a big job that we have, and a big job for Maria to make sure that the staff is all in place.
All set? That was it for us.
I want to make one other
Question mark?
Yeah, go ahead, Russ.
Maria, what is the net number, would you happen to know, from last year to this year? Equal number, more people, less people?
Oh.
I know it's just a guess.
What I mentioned in the previous slides, I didn't add them up that way, but when you go back to the previous slides, these are new positions that we're hiring, right?
Okay.
So when you look at the new number,
So 3, 4,
we're just
5,
adding them here, right?
9, 10, 11, 13, 14.
NFT is a hard one, Mr. Laurie, only because there's so many regular substitutes that were
Right.
rehired. But the addition there, you see the 2 art, 1 business, 1 health, 1 music, 4 PE, 1 PSA. That's-
14.
Yeah, that's where you would
14
add.
teaching staff, Russ?
Right.
Additional?
And then the nurse practitioner,
15.
the 8 folks in the CSEA.
No, 14 and 9 is 23.
Yeah, yeah. And then 25 and 6. So, as Earl said, it's about 40 new people. We do it in terms of the bodies that we hired or rehired, and that was 190.
Sure, well,
So
yeah.
there's 190 people
New
that the
people.
Human Resources Office either made contracts for or did open enrollment for. Not belly buttons, but people, and then they come with families, right? So it's difficult for me to tell you, not except maybe about 40.
So we're probably the 3rd largest employer or 2nd? Well,
I think we may have moved to second, but I'm not familiar with those stats.
I would think the airbase, casino,
Yeah,
Casino.
hospital, us. It's a good question.
it's
Yeah.
a good question.
We'll have to look it up.
I want to make one point on staffing, and Maria will do the personnel report momentarily, but one of the unfinished tasks that I promised you on July 7th, it still remains unfinished because Maria and I pass very quickly. We still have to establish some probationary positions on that personnel report.
Correct.
So the teachers, TSAs, PSAs have rights to probationary jobs. We just haven't put all of them on your report yet. But we will. By September, we will. Some of them are on there. They're not all done. There are some more probationary positions. But everybody is in place, and we could always go back and put the probationary moniker on that.
Yeah.
But I failed in getting that done. It just has been very crazy. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
Very swift and smooth. We're 2 for 2, Ray. Batting third, playing information services from Chilton Avenue in Niagara Falls, Mr. Ray Granieri. Ray, would you take?
See the Mad Bombers.
No, Chilton Avenue. He's a Chilton Avenue guy.
Yeah, proud of my Chilton Avenue roots.
Technology, where are we, Ray?
Yes, sir. It all kind of starts with Power Schools, our student management system. It really began that work in February or March. At its foundation, it's as, I guess I could describe it as moving Little Stan from second grade to third grade and all the associated stuff that goes with that. In place and ready to go. We have our Office 365 builds, which is really our virtual component or remote component, electronic component for curriculum. Network entrance is, you hear me talking about cybersecurity and entrances into networks. This is a significant piece and more significant so we make sure the number of employees that Maria has is the number of people that we have that can have a proper entrance into the network. We always have pilots. I really like pilots for a slow roll and to kind of get rid of any kinks. Some notables here. We've always looked for a learning management system, right? We've used things that kind of simulate a learning management system. We look all the time for a learning management system. Currently, we're using Schoology and Canvas, and we're really excited about Schoology as being our formal LMS. And we're piloting it through the school year. Everyday labs can be considered a kind of a learning management system. We're using a small component of everyday labs to try to focus, I call it, Rick calls it a hired gun, to try to manage absences so that we can get a better handle on how we can get kids to school in a better way. And then finally, just a piece of software called Rocket Lit that we're excited about that's based in the science, new science components, and shows a lot of promise. The other work which has always been there is classroom software, rostering all these kids into all the software. That we have tons of software, administrative, system software, and with that comes all the administrative roles of making sure people have access to what they need. The most exciting thing that we're doing this summer, and it's really, the board saw it a few months ago, is the new Clear Touch interactive boards. And it's really a district initiative in 3 components. The first component is working with Mr. Corella and the training, and we chose very early in the game to make training to be a priority so that when a board is in place, a teacher has been thoroughly trained and can use it to all the potential that the board can bring. The second piece is all the kind of the mechanics of getting the boards. It's dumpsters, it's deliveries, it's stationaries, and we've teamed with the maintenance department to make sure that things are in and out in a timely manner and we can do the work. The third piece, which has been maybe the most challenging, I'm glad Tommy Chandler's with us today because he's been a big part of what the board actually, from a technology standpoint, looks like. We are treating the board and implementing and configuring the most current technology. So the most current technology for access is a Wi-Fi module 6. So we're making sure it's configured and working, and we're going down the list to make sure that when we're done, which we are at Abbott, Gaskill, and Kelfis, that is the latest and greatest board. There isn't any older components, there isn't any older drivers, any older firmware, and we're starting off in the manner that we should be. It is our hope, I've spoke with LPS, this brings a little more challenge, and that this will be the first school that we're doing where school's in session. So we're gonna probably start that in mid to later September.
Ray, just so for a clear picture, and I know I'm pressing you on this, you got 3 done, you're going to LPS next.
Yes.
To the best of your ability, when will we be done with all 11 schools? To the best of your ability, to quote a famous dry cleaner, I won't hold you to it.
I'm going with, because it includes a nice break in school activities, would be January, the first part of January.
So to start the new year,
Yeah.
every school, and remember, we're not just putting these in, the old ones remain, the staff has to prove their training, and then Ray affixes them with the maintenance team and Ronco. So I think it's a really fair target to start after the break to have all 11 schools in with the board that you saw over there. We're just trying to do this sequentially with training. Thank you. Go ahead.
So in the context of hardware, we're always looking at security-based technology. We've added probably 50 to 60 cameras using funding with cooperation with Becky in the Finance Department and ST3 funding. We'll be close to 600 total operational security cameras in district. You've heard me kind of talk about the 10 gig environment, which I'm really proud of. We should be proud of as a district. We're very close to being at a 10 gig operating speed. Again, in the context of security, administrative laptops and device upgrades, security patches, you might see occasionally it happens to us here in a board meeting. Well, the screen will pop up and say patches are coming, and we have no choice because we're not going to deviate from making sure that any device in district has the most current security features. I would like to thank the board and the administration for allowing tech summer work, because kind of a big component of what they do is that we have, I'm going to say, approximately 12,000 student laptops. We image every one of those laptops, which that means they're out-of-the-box functionality. Plus, they're all the same device. So if one laptop has trouble at Maple Avenue School in first grade, every device is going to have that same trouble. We know how to address every concern. It's mostly out-of-the-box performance, and it's really shown to extend the replacement cycle that we have.
Thank you, Ray. I just want you to address one thing that happens every single day over the course of the summer. And I think I don't want to call on Mr. Zimmerman for this, but can you talk about fishing? We are fished every day. The latest attack was on maintenance.
Yes.
So, Ray, we are fished every day, and the only way to beat phishing is education, and awareness. Just a moment on phishing.
Yeah, 100%. Every day. In our safety meeting, I had 2 notifications that we're being phished. It's and the thing of it is getting so good. I could throw out some terms that completely make sense. They sound fancy, but it's kind of scary, not to be dramatic. But these fishes are getting so authentic, and they're capturing information, and people are busy, and there's reasons why. But you're 100% correct, and that it's a training that we have through the HRO department, because it's the human element right now. We have so many precautions, so many technology, firewalls, things that can stop things, but it really drops down to the human on the end of the keyboard. And to be honest with you, the things that we have caught that others haven't have become because of awareness in district, and I thank the HRO department because they lead the training that we have for cybersecurity phishing measures.
Thanks, Ray. And batting cleanup from somewhere in LaSalle. I don't know what street you grew up on. Did you grow up in LaSalle?
Munson Avenue.
Munson Avenue. Is that in LaSalle?
Yes, it is.
I was never allowed to go to LaSalle as a young.
They named it after Thurman.
Oh, is that what it, that's good, Tony. As a young man, I felt very scared to go out to Munson Avenue, where Rick grew up. But batting cleanup from Munson Avenue to give you a curriculum instruction update is Rick Corella.
Thank you, folks. All right, so we had a very busy summer. A lot of things came together this summer. Many of the initiatives at the state level, adoption of new standards, and introduction of new assessments were paused due to the pandemic. Within the last year and a half, most of those initiatives have been unpaused and have begun moving forward again. So we had, as did all districts across the state, a lot of catching up to do. We're fortunate in that we benefit from a lot of ARP dollars as well as a lot of grants that we have received over the past year and a half. So with that came a lot of new initiatives, and I'll highlight some of them that we wanted to get into place. And summer is a great time to get all that work done. So there's quite a bit. I'm just going to go through the highlights, and I broke it down by level. So at the elementary level, we updated all of our grades kindergarten to 5 English language arts curriculum. We have all new curriculum maps, guidance, and all new resources. For mathematics, we are at the elementary level, and when I say that, I mean grades K to 5. We began the process of choosing some new resources which we'll implement in the 24-25 school year. A group of teachers worked with our coaches and narrowed it down to 2 different programs that we're considering. And so we have a group of teachers that will be piloting each throughout this school year, and we'll make a decision by March or April. Science is also an area where there is a lot of movement. I mentioned new state assessments coming along. As we integrated in or implemented the new state science standards, which still isn't complete, it was a very long process that included all grades from kindergarten and pre-K all the way up through all of the higher Regents courses. Those rollouts, as they are going along, are complete now through 8th grade. So the state is instituting brand new New York State science assessments. These are benchmark assessments that appear only at certain grade levels. In the past, the elementary assessment was always in 4th grade. Now it is moving up to 5th grade, and though it has been postponed for several years, it is debuting for our students that are entering 5th grade. This year, they will take it in June of '24. Also debuting in June of '24 is the brand new state assessment for grade 8 science, and that will again be in June of '24, and that's completely aligned to the continuum of new state science standards. As far as professional development at the elementary level, we were very fortunate that you approved the appointment of 8 teachers to lead the elementary PEP, or primary intervention program, in each building. So we're returning that program and enhancing it as a teacher-led model, and that all 8 of those teachers were selected in June. You approved them, and we worked with them all summer to train them, not only in all of the interventions that we offer our students, but also in how to facilitate the program, how to schedule, how to gather and track student data, and manage kids' movement through the different tiers. Over 100 teachers participated in reading and ELA professional development for the science of reading, phonics, and word study, differentiated guided reading, and we held sessions at the beginning of this week to unveil the components of our updated English Language Arts curriculum K-5.
Rick, I'm going to stop you right here.
Okay.
And I know we do have a number of parents who watch this either live or on replay. I just would like you to be very succinct and direct about the amount of phonics that we're teaching in the elementary school. Could you just summarize that in a few words, so that we can dispel a notion that we don't teach phonics in elementary school?
Right. We use one of the premier phonics programs that's based on the science of reading. It's from Wilson Language. It's called Wilson Language Foundations. It's based on the Orton-Gillingham model, so it's a multi-sensory model, and it's been proven to work very well with students, because students have different approaches to learning, and they learn in different ways. But this model, when done with fidelity, hits many different modalities. So it's a very solid Tier 1 program. We teach it every day,
Right.
30 minutes per day.
Right.
Students who are still struggling will get another 30 minutes of intervention every day, and that can be in what we call the double dose foundations, or if they have different learning needs, it might be that they receive one of the other programs that's in our intervention menu. Okay.
So, if I heard you correctly, every K2 student is guaranteed 150 minutes of phonics instruction a week.
That's correct.
And, yeah, it is. And Rick mentioned something that we call double dose as an educational term. Double dose is for a student who is struggling. They could get up to 300 minutes a week in phonics instruction around the program that you purchased, Wilson Language. And I would just want to make sure, and I've talked to our elementary administrators, some of whom are here, that is a clear expectation that we do phonics, and the double dose is available to those kids in K to 2. So we are doing it. We are doing it, we are monitoring it, we're assessing it, and I'm expecting it. Thank you for that explanation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So at the preparatory level for curriculum readiness, this summer we upgraded our grades or reworked our grades 6 and 7 curriculum for mathematics. We are also preparing to renew our resources for the 24-25 school year, so we make those things true. So it's kind of a backward design. It's called 3D instruction. I don't want to be jargony, but that's really what it's called. So it's more about making sure kids see the relevance in it, knowing that something that often might be familiar to them occurs in the natural world, and they're going to learn the science behind it. So that it's a different way of presenting it. And one of the things that I most appreciate about it is it emphasizes problem solving and the kind of soft skills that we know kids need in the workplace. If they're going to be professionals and if they're going to work in the STEM field, they need to approach things this way, because no one's really going to in our jobs, we may have manuals here and there, but we have to solve problems every day. And we have to look at a situation and we have to figure it out and know how we're going to address it. So this instructional approach really kind of does that. So it mimics the real world careers. It kind of tightens that alignment. So, okay. Let me see. Where did I leave off here? Okay, world language.
Right.
World language has been updated, and so we've revised our Spanish 1 courses this summer. And we've also purchased some new resources as well. It is one thing I would mention is that our ARP funding has really enabled us to situate ourselves very well with curricular materials. Yeah. In some cases, the curriculum materials that we need are not always fundable with our grants, with our F codes, and so we sometimes have to use the general fund, especially in the sciences. But this stream of grant funding has allowed us to really make sure that I can project for several years out that we are very well situated and we'll be able to save some money in the future, leveraging the grant money that we have at our disposal now.
It's funny because now we're tying in the audit committee. Mr. Bilson, Mr. Villardum has done at the audit committee, heard that we're going to get audited on our ARP funds. And I told them that this is what we were doing on the student side. You didn't know that was going to happen, but
Right.
This is what we'll prove when those auditors come in on the financial side. So interesting tie-in from a finance meeting. Sorry, go ahead. You know?
And you've heard us talk about the Seal of Civic Readiness before. That's a graduation seal that students can earn. It's fairly new. We were one of the pilot districts in the state to offer it. We've had great success with it. We did a little more work with it this summer. And the last 2 bullets there, we're looking at bringing it down into 7th grade and having students not only practice the skills, but have the opportunity to earn points, or at least set themselves up to earn points once they enter 8th grade toward that seal when they graduate from high school.
So it's really important because tomorrow I'm going to go on the radio and I will get a phone call and they'll say, why don't you teach civics? We do. We have the Seal of Civic Readiness. It is in our curriculum. It is being taught. And I appreciate what Rick said. We're trying to drive it down as young as 7th grade. So it's an annual question I get when I do my Opening of Schools radio show on the 500,000 watt WEBR 1440. Sorry, Rick, go ahead.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of courses, Mr. Laurie, on to high school. We did a lot of work at the high school level. 23 courses were either revised or created. So the highlights of the 14 new courses that were created this summer, some of our advanced mechanical engineering and technology courses for our P-Tech students, such as Introduction to Technical Calculation and Computer Science, business electives, Principles of Business and Leadership, and Professional Sales and Real Estate. We expanded our trades program with building a Year 2 course. In our STEM department, Biotech Science, Robotics Exploration, and Intro to Robotics and Programming are all new courses.
That's great.
In the humanities, Mastering the Academic Environment, and School for Society and Disability Awareness. We revised or expanded the courses that are on the lower part of your screen. African American Studies, Career Finance and Management, Printmaking and 2D Design, Advanced Theater Studies, Theater History and Set Design, and the Junior Law Enforcement Academy, which is part of the PS2 program.
Those are college credit-bearing courses for high school students. College courses. And I go back one time, Rick, and I know this is your last slide, but one time, the African American Studies, the African American Studies course, the Theater Studies, African American Theater Studies. These are courses being offered to our students for college courses. I'm a huge believer that that's the way to bring the classes in. But look at the diversity and the technical nature of the courses that we're offering at your high school. That is pretty technical and it's pretty worldly, so I credit the high school administrative team and Rick for making, and the teachers for making these courses available to kids. Look at that specificity for any kid that wants it. It's really impressive. Go ahead, I know you got one more slide.
Actually, two more, but
Two more, sorry.
Who's counting? In general, we were talking about all of the new curriculum and standards that are coming down the line. We did some work with the arts this summer. The updating of the arts curriculum is ongoing. We've been working on it for the last couple of years. The state allows us and has given us benchmarks to meet, so it's kind of a very slow roll. But we're zeroing in on getting all of our courses updated and creating some new ones because we would like to be one of the districts that gets approved for an arts pathway for graduation.
Right.
Okay. That is one of the latest pathways that is offered, but we can't be considered for it unless all of our arts courses are completely updated and we finished aligning everything to the new art standards.
Right.
Physical education, as I mentioned, those standards are in effect starting next September, so we are doing the pre-work for that. Our focus this summer was looking at our current practice and identifying what aligns to the new standards. So we're not throwing out the best of the old, we're looking at what is aligned and what we want to carry forward because it works with the new standards. Yes?
Just a quick question on the arts pathway for graduation. Can you, if we end up meeting all the requirements, can you just explain that a little more to me?
Sure.
Like, what does it mean? What does that mean for a parent?
There are
or
several
for
different
kids?
pathways, and I know that in a way they could wind up being a moot point at some point because you've probably seen in the media that, and Cynthia Jones is on the blue ribbon panel that's looking at this. Our graduation standards are likely to change within the next couple years, so it's in flux. However, 4 or 5 years ago, there were some regulatory changes which allowed us to think differently about graduation and have certain approved pathways that students could use to accrue their credits for graduation. And basically, they might, if they achieve assessment or proficiency in a particular pathway, it can substitute for passing a Regents exam. In particular, there are some Regents exams that are more difficult for students to pass than others. So rather than passing all 5, a student could pass 4 and earn one of these pathways and then complete their graduation requirements. And that has been around for a while, but every year new pathways are proposed, and if for districts who qualify and have the infrastructure for them, we can offer them to our students.
So I want to make sure that, not this year, next year, school year, Rob and board members, that we allow our high school kids to substitute a Regents exam for an arts pathway until the graduation standards change. And then we'll have to have another conversation. I don't want to suppose, Cynthia, I don't want to suppose that if you don't pass global studies, you can get an arts pathway. Would that be one of them? Yeah, so global studies is traditionally a very difficult course for a Regents pathing. You can pass the other 4, but have an arts pathway and get your graduation diploma. It makes sense. We have to get ourselves ready to do this. We're not ready yet, but we will be ready. As I look at different people who will make us ready, we will be ready a year from now. Thanks, Rick. Go ahead.
Sure. And then we worked on the grant-funded programs that are listed here. We've continued to do work over the summer to situate ourselves. Some of these grants are newer than others. We shared with you some highlights earlier this spring. Very significant. We received a second P-TECH grant for computer science, and our student mental health supports grant has led to us being licensed to have a family support center within the district. So that's a significant way to provide mental health services to our students. And speaking of mental health and student well-being, this is my last slide, Mr. Lurie. A couple of very significant things that we did this summer as part of those ongoing initiatives. We updated our district mental health supports guide, which is being distributed and posted on our website as we speak. This is part of the grant that I just mentioned. We had one that actually Stan Wotan worked on when he worked in my office about 4 years ago, and we chose to weave it into one of our grant proposals to make sure it stays current and continuously updated. We now have completed all the preparation for all of our schools K-12 to have a social emotional learning curriculum in place. We have various curricula that are approved, but now every school has access to one. We held 6 training sessions on restorative practices, which are our alternative approaches to discipline. They're positive approaches that allow us to repair damaged relationships, problem solve around conflict, and for students to repair harm that they've done. We had 3 sessions for elementary teachers. We had 75 teachers trained, 25 in each, 3 for secondary staff, and all of our administrators were trained as well. So assistant principals, as well as some deans attended the administrator session. And for our trauma-informed initiative, which I know I know you heard a report from the students at the June meeting, or one of our June meetings, we continued to work on a sustainability plan over the summer. We met with the administrators on August 15th and discussed that topic and made some plans. And one of the things that we created this summer, and I'm sure that Mr. Lurie will explain it more at a later time, is we are beginning a district trauma response team, which I consider kind of a subgroup of our district champion team. And that team is still being formed. We have a meeting on Monday where we're going to take some steps to formalize how it functions.
Right. So obviously Rick didn't do much this summer, but I just want to show you the depth and the breadth of the work that Rick, Earl, Maria, and Ray have done, in addition to many things that they didn't mention, in addition to many things that Becky and Julie and the rest of the principals and teachers have done over the summer. The bottom line, we are ready to open school in 2 weeks. We have the buildings ready, we have the staff ready, we have the technology ready, and we have the curriculum ready. And not only are we ready, but we're excited to welcome kids 2 weeks from today. So I want to thank all of you very much for great reports. Thanks. We would like to spend the next half hour, because you haven't had a chance to go through this with us. I'd just like to review the agenda with you now, that at 7 o'clock we're going to ask you to vote on. And I want to make sure that we give you ample time to ask questions. Thank you, Ray. There will be oral and written communications as usual. The minutes from the July 6th meeting, budget transfer number 1, no bids this month. Maria, would you like to come forward and do the certificated and classified reports now? And you do have some additional names that I want the board to see and be able to ask you about. It wasn't.
So I have.
Now it is.
Okay, good, thank you. I have for you an addendum for each report, okay? So I'm going to distribute that right now, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about the original report that you received, and then each addendum. Okay, so beginning with the certificated report that you received on Tuesday with your packet. Do you have any questions about that? I know you've had a couple days to go through it. We have, starting with all of our retirements, and you're seeing that many retirements because these are the folks that are taking the incentive to retire at age 55 with 1 year notice and lifetime medical benefits. So that's why you see so many retirements listed there for June 2024, and there is one on there for 2025 as well. You see some resignations. These are some folks that have been in the district and have decided to resign prior to retirement. We have our probationary appointments. As Mr. Laurie said, the majority of our appointments this year were regular substitute appointments. We are going to go back and revisit those, but these are some additional people who we appointed probationary because we knew that their jobs were probationary right from the start. Regular substitutes will take you from the bottom of page 4 all the way through page 7. Then we have some involuntary transfers, some voluntary transfers, some leaves of absence, and then the rest of the report that you received beginning on page 9 is really all the summer work that Mr. Carella shared with you that he did with the staff over the summer. So that was the original certificated report that you received. If you'll look at the documents that I just distributed to you, we have an addendum to that certificated report right on top. You see some additional probationary appointments there, a rescission of a regular substitute appointment, and then an appointment of another regular substitute. You also have the involuntary transfers listed for the people in the art department, a social worker, the people in the speech department, and the people in the music department. We have some voluntary transfers that occurred in the Head Start area, and then 1 leave of absence. We did not put any additional per diem or summer work Schedule B on the addendum to the report. So the certificated report and the certificated report addendum, does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, moving on to the classified report that you received the other day. The classified report was relatively small in comparison, but you'll see that we had a revised retirement, resignations, and several provisional and probationary appointments. In addition to that, we had a number of transfers. You're seeing those transfers due to some vacancies and some bidding, leave of absence, and some additional hours, and some opening of school preparation for the classified staff. That took you through page 8 of 8. This evening, I distributed to you an addendum to the classified report. You'll see the provisional appointment on page 1 of the accountant we shared with you. And then you're going to see some probationary appointments. These are mostly in the area of the associates. These were the folks that I shared with you earlier in my staffing readiness slide. Moving all the way through the transfers, most of those transfers you see there are nurses, safety officers, and associates who asked and bid on separate jobs. Then we do have 1 additional leave of absence to take additional district employment. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. It was, and as a matter of fact, we didn't originally think we could grant it, but then we were able to grant that transfer. Yeah, so hopefully that individual will be happy now. Yeah. Are there any questions on either of the classified reports?
Mr. Petrosi, members of the board, when we get to the certificated report, I'd like just to take a moment to recognize an administrator we're appointing, and on the class, as well as a number of great teachers and teaching assistants we're appointing, but an administrator is a big deal in this district, and I would like to just talk a little bit about that. Secondly, when we get to the classified report, I once again would like to talk about an accountant that we are promoting, because an accountant, after Becky and Julie and team, is a very important position in the district, and I'd like to speak of her for just a few seconds at that time, if you would allow me. Thank you. Good job, Maria. Moving forward, the committee reports, et cetera, we have a ton, I mean a ton of short-term contracts. I'm going to go through these rather quickly, but please stop me. Now, and I'm going to ask Rick to jump in because many of them are his. The McGraw-Hill, first one is for opening day training, correct, Rick? Correct. Opening of school training on the 6th. Then we've got 6 contracts short-term for different events that took place last Friday at the Kindergarten Jamboree. Pretty successful kindergarten, pre-K jamboree. We bring out hair cutters and sound and African culture and different activities, different foods. Niagara University is to pay for REACH courses for the fall. These are grant-funded REACH courses. Remember the letter F before a code indicates it's coming from a grant and not your general fund. Number 9, Christopher Beanie. You saw Maria point out that we have a new nurse practitioner. That nurse practitioner needs doctor oversight for 1 year. That is Dr. Beanie, who will be doing the oversight of our new nurse practitioner. Number 10 and 11 are successful high school PS2 programs. They go to Lakeside Quarter Horses and do mini veterinarian work and work with the horses. So they're there. They're also getting a horse ready for the Kentucky Derby in 2029. I think it's Pyomai. Thanks, Maria, for listening. No one else got it. Dennis Thuman is a great partner. This is a drop-in center. He works with bond students, no cost. The Niagara NICAP is also a Head Start, no cost short-term contract. Big Picture. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but we even have a representative for Big Picture. Big Picture is one of the ways we are enhancing our Pathways to Excellence program. This was for the summer training that is going on yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and we have our trainer here with us, and I'll introduce him in a moment. Sarah Minton is additional help for Tony Serace. Tony cannot do it all along, so Tony asked us if we could provide some short-term help in his training, and that's why he's there. Number 16 is a retired individual who's going to work with the district parent group on a number of parent group and community activities, including Wolverine Week, bringing the Harlem Wizards back, and some other community-based activities for kids. Cortez Bradbury is outstanding. He is a police officer, and he is going to run a junior elementary bowling program at our 6 elementary schools. I believe he is starting at High Park and Mann. And I know Miss Bianco is an excellent bowler, so we had to start with her first. But Cortez is going to run a bowling program there. You know we've used Fight Night Boxing. We bring our high school and Gaskill kids to the boxing gym. I know Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Brigley, who are out there, really do a great job with the Gaskill kids at Fight Night Boxing, and Mr. Rotello leads that up at Niagara Falls High School. And at the conclusion, there will be a steel cage match against Mr. Zimmerman at the boxing ring. No, I'm kidding. I'll pay
to watch that.
Yeah, well, we're going to do that to help fund the budget. Francis Center worked with Mr. Marino to have and Ms. Brundage, who's here, to have about 25 kindergarten kids go there after our summer school was open. Shalonda Wallace is doing a girls mentoring program at Niagara Falls High School the last week of September. Marcus Tomir is doing an autism workshop for our teachers. Did an autism workshop. We have more and more autistic children in our district. and the Child Advocacy Center. This is a mandated reporting course for our Head Start and Early Head Start personnel. Those are our short-term contracts. You'll notice most of them are preceded with an F, meaning we use grant money to pay for a lot of this. Yes, sir. Yes. Moving ahead to our resolutions, and I'm not going fast. Oh my God, Bishop Dobbs is here. I hope I look okay. I wasn't sure. My goodness. I'm very nervous now. Good afternoon, Bishop Dobbs. How are you? Good evening. Come on. I know you'd like to grab a seat at the board table, but yeah, but it's like royalty is here. Royalty has arrived.
We better be on our game.
Let me bring it back. I blew this. I blew it. Let's go through the resolutions. We have a grant for $39,266. This is SIG-A planning, Rick? This is a SIG-A planning grant. 602 is the 21st Century grant for our 2 prep schools.
Correct.
We got a grant for $826,702. So I hope you'll accept those. 603, 604, and 605. This will allow us to formally file the Code of Conduct, the safety level plans, and the district comprehensive plan. Yes. Right.
That phrase was left out.
Okay.
And when it gets to the commission, we just want to know who complied with all the regulations. So we'll amend that.
If you remember back, we had a public hearing on the safety plans back, and we need to include that language. Remember May 4th? We didn't have any speakers. I know Maria presented it, but now this is actually sending it to the commissioner.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take that one by itself, 603, and we'll amend it. Then we'll vote on it, and we'll take the other 3 together. Is that good with everyone? Mm-hmm. And you want to read the amendment, or we'll just assume what you just read?
Right now,
Yeah, read the amendment. So. That will be the amendment. Everyone have it? Thanks, Angela.
Thank you. 606, we have 3 schools in the district that needs a comprehensive plan. Rick has completed all this work. Anything significant there, Rick?
No, just that the district comprehensive improvement plan is posted on our district website as is required, and each of the schools that are affected have it posted on their school websites.
Thanks, Rick. 607 is a contract with PLC. PLC, this is for staff training in the Foundational 5. The money that you're approving with the grant pays for this training.
Yes, correct.
608 is for PLC again. This is for surveying stakeholders at our targeted schools.
For all of the district.
For all the schools.
For all of the district, yes.
You know how we survey the teachers, staff, parents, community, and this allows us to do this and pay for that service to be done. 609, Rick, is this for our professional development for our TSI schools?
It is, well, one of them is professional development for our TSI schools, The other is for elective professional development for our LSI schools.
Okay.
Those used to be referred to as schools in good standing. Now they're referred to as LSI, local support and improvement schools.
And just to be very clear, those schools are Gaskill, 79th Street, and Niagara Falls High School.
Correct.
That's what this is for, and that's what the funding and training is for. 609 is for, this is for, that's for PD. 610.
Yes, right.
610 is for training our 13 math coaches in AIS, I believe.
Yes, our math AIS teachers.
611 is the big picture program that we were talking about. As you know, you invested a lot of money in a different alternative pathway program in Niagara Falls High School. I want to tell you, it was very successful. 25 out of 26 of the seniors graduated from that program. It is not perfect. We have a great partnership with Niagara Falls teachers who have worked together with us on it, and the recommendation to take this program to the next level was to purchase a program called Big Picture Learning. Big Picture Learning will add 3 components to this alternative pathway program. 1, every student in that program will be paired with a trusted adult. 2, they'll be going through a Learning to Learn internship program where they will all have exposure to different internship opportunities. And 3, it will give additional mentoring and support to all 115 students in that program. Mr. Weiss and Mr. Ruffalo have worked together to research this program. They recommended this to me. I believe it's a good thing to take it to the next level. And Mr. Ruffalo, will you introduce our guest that's with us today, please?
We've got Lenny Opedisano from Syracuse. Lenny is our big picture coach that is here. He's been with us the last 2 days. He's going to finish training for tomorrow. Mr. Weiss and I met Lenny probably in March or April when we visited Lafayette High School in Syracuse. So we got to see the program in action. And once we also went to Sweet Home School District and Kentown to visit the big picture schools there. We felt it was appropriate after reviewing them. We felt it was appropriate to bring that program to Niagara Falls High School. We really think it's going to be beneficial for our schools.
So please know, this is the next phase in a scaffolded approach to that Pathways program, big picture, with emphasis on 3 additional components. And I said those are a trusted adult, learning to learn, mentoring and support. And each year we're going to ratchet that program up more and more, but I do want to say I considered it a success when 25 of the 26 seniors graduated. Approval of services, I'm on 612. This is for math training, Rick, new gen math standards?
Yeah, it is. It's for training for one of the pilot programs that I talked about.
613 is Becky's. Unfortunately, from time to time, we have to use Aero transportation to transport our children. And we want to put a resolution before you that when we deem it necessary for some bus situation, Becky can call on Aero transportation to provide needed transportation, oftentimes in the case of a special needs student. I don't know why they got the limo in there. The limo service is just for me. No, I'm kidding. Anybody who's watching, it was a joke. I'm kidding. Bishop Dobbs, I'm kidding. I don't have a limo yet. 614 is for restorative practices. Restorative practices is our way, and we have such a great showing of administrators. I have challenged them and insisted that we reduce our suspension rate. This is a way to do restorative practices, and they're being trained in that regard. 615, now these are grant-funded programs. This is outside counseling with Melinda Schmay. She's been with us. She's paid for out of the 21st Century and Extended Learning Grant. Booker College Planning helps our kids in the P-TECH program. That was a component of writing P-TECH. 617, you know we have ELL students. This particular resolution will help us with our Hispanic students. We have a growing number of Hispanic students that will help us there. 618 is for early college, more early college courses. I'm looking, I don't see Brian. For early college courses, high school people, Brian, early college courses at Niagara University, we're paying for early college, those courses are the 3 credit courses that we're using, correct? These are paid for by a grant. Mental health advocates, this is for mental health first aid training. 621 is a program that's been requested by our kindergarten, first and second grade teachers. It is something called Too Good for Violence. We've been doing it for 6 years, and our principals insist and want it. 622, the audit committee, of which Ms. Dunn, Mr. Velardo, and Mr. Bilson were part of. We are recommending that Bonadeo become our internal auditors beginning in January to work with Becky and Julie to do an internal audit risk assessment and pick an area, and the audit committee unanimously approved that. I'm almost there, guys. 623. This resolution was initiated by Mr. Massaro. This is for our child victims cases. You know that we have a number of them, and we do need outside counsel to support Mr. Rossetti and Mr. Massaro on certain cases with respect to the Child Victims Act. Is that correct, Mr. Massaro? That's correct. 624. This was initiated by Mr. Wooten. Mr. Wooten has been instrumental in our unified programs for elementary kids. This is for the Ralph Wilson Dome. Mr. Wooten uses it for our unified programs across the district, our tennis, cheerleading, basketball. Kathy Sullivan uses it for Week of the Young Child, and we have some extended day programs over there. This is to allow us a lot of use at the Ralph Wilson Center. And I think Mr. Bradley, who's here, also looking to join us as a board member, is a board member of the Ralph. Are you still on the Ralph Wilson Center board? So we do use it, and I'm asking the board for approval of that tonight for more use. 625, sure, he's not here. 625 is a change order for the drinking fountains. We're getting $1,080 back. It was a credit to us. He's always here when there's change orders, we've got to spend money, but Mr. Petrozzi, it's a credit for the drinking fountains. 626 is to pay MLK $2,766 for the rest of the bottle fillers. 627 is to pay D.V. Brown $233,557.50. D.V. Brown is our mechanical engineer, Earl, who is installing the boilers that Earl talked about.
D.V. Brown is our mechanical contractor that is installing the new Calfis heat pump systems.
I was close.
Yes, you were.
I was close. Miss Buckman is very cold very often, and she's asked for a new boiler to make sure that she's always warm and toasty over there, and we have to pay for it. So that $233,000 is just for you. No, D.V. Brown has done a good job, Earl.
They're doing a very good job right now. Yes.
Finally, CIR is $5,747. This is for the electrical work that goes along with Mrs. Buckman's boiler system to keep her toasty and the lights on. And CIR is doing good work. I want to make one point here for the listening and in-person audience. We are using a project labor agreement, PLA, on all of these projects. That's it. And those are your September meetings. You've got the very stunning, mind-bending, exciting NISBA resolutions in September. Oh boy. Edge of your seat excitement. Edge of your, really must-see TV when we go through those NISBA resolutions. Yes, if anybody's having trouble sleeping, don't blame Becky. Becky didn't write them, she's just gonna read them. And then your other meeting, your voting meeting is on the 28th, and at that time, we will be bringing forth our August graduates. Two things, August graduates, and there was a potential of 9. Mr. Rotelli, you say 5? 5 or 6 we plan to bring forward to graduate that evening. And NSBA will be here to give you 2 more awards for the work that you've done as a board. So two functions that evening. Mr. President, except for that $2 million change order that you didn't hear about, no, it was a deduct, Russ. It was a deduct. That is what we have on the docket for you. We do not need an executive session, but at the conclusion of the meeting, I do have a rather lengthy report for the community, those in the audience, about different things that are going on in the district. So I will need about 10 minutes for my report. Thank you.
Stand for the pledge to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll have a prayer by Mrs. Dunn, please.
Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, we thank you for allowing us to meet today under your presence and guidance. Help us to be wise in decisions we make tonight for the continued success of our children and district. Lord, in the midst of troubling times, we pray your healing spirit pour out over in our community. Send your spirit to guide and protect our children. Let your will be done on earth and in our lives today, Lord. We need you. We thank you, Lord, for your continued blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Clara. Judy, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bass.
Present.
Mr. Bilson. Mr. Consemi is excused.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Capizzi. Here. Mrs. Dunn. Here. Mr. Cadella is excused. Mr. Petrosi.
Yes, he is.
Mr. Pareto.
Here.
Mr. Velardo. Here. Thank you. And Mr. Petrosi.
Here, thank you
7
very
present.
much. We will start off with letters and communications. We do have one letter from the family of Gertrude Provost thanking us for adjourning the meeting in memory of Gertrude Provost. Our one public speaker on agenda-related items, Mr. Dan Weiss, please.
He's coming off the bat. He asked me if I was going to introduce you in the batting order.
Kind of big, a little power, I imagine.
Coming off the bench.
I wouldn't want to see Mr. Krell.
Coming off the bench, Dan Weiss.
Of course, you gentlemen and ladies know how much I like to get up here and speak in front of you. Tonight, a little different capacity. I rise in support of one of the motions you'll be voting on, 611, for the Big Picture program. As Mr. Laurie said, Mr. Ruffalo and I had the opportunity to visit several schools where there's established programs. And I think a couple of years ago we sat and talked to you about some of the problems that were going on at the high school with the climate and in regards to some opportunities for students that maybe didn't exist in the capacities that they did. And I really would like to give a vote of confidence for this program. I think it is something that takes some of those students that are oftentimes misunderstood in our community as problem students, and I think that's a terrible label to label them as problem students. I think this program does a great deal to help them find their value, their purpose, by mentoring them through staff members that are like-minded and looking for those values in them. And I think it provides them with some unique opportunities that they need to see something outside of the traditional confines of education. And I have full confidence in Mr. Ruffalo down there running that program. along with the staff that's there. I think we've built a really good team down there, and I look forward to that, and I encourage all of you to continue to support this program because I think it's a great avenue for some students that may not otherwise find their way through the traditional school system that we've all come to know for the last number of years. So thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and good luck to everyone and all your colleagues this year. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move through these items smartly. If anyone in the audience, you can see us after for any questions, or see Mark, or Judy, or myself, or any of the board members. We're going to start with recommended actions from the superintendent of schools. We're going to take 401 and 402 together. 401 are the minutes of the July 6th meeting, and 4.02 is budget transfer number 1. Motion by Mr. Bilson, Mr. Pareto. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. We'll take the treasurer's report and the budget status report, 04 and 05. They are received and filed. We're going to take the personnel report certificated. Want to please have a motion to bring the addendum in. Mr. Bilson, second, please. Mr. Villardo, thank you. We're now voting on the addendum. Is there any questions on the addendum? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Addendum added.
Thank you. Now we're going to take 4.06 as the personnel report certificated, including the addendum. Mr. Baez, Mr. Villardo, questions?
May I comment, please?
Sure.
Thank you very much. I want to say a couple of things here as you vote and prepare to vote on the certificated staff. Number one, again, congratulations to all of our new teachers that went through a very good week with Mrs. Jones and Mr. Corella and Ms. Massaro. Super proud of them. I'm super proud of the staff and all the names that are represented on there. I see we have speech teachers here, and congratulations if the board chooses to vote for you. And I also would like to tell you that we are adding an administrator, and I would tell you that I recommend this administrator unqualified, full commitment. He's earned the vote and our support to be one of the leaders in our district. He has earned this and worked very hard. And I will tell you, one of the things that caught my eye about this young man is that he was an outstanding special education teacher. And I believe in order to be a good administrator, and I'm looking at a lot of them, you have to be a good teacher. And our administrators were, first of all, good teachers. So I'm proud to put Alan Cowart, his name forward to become a new assistant principal on this report to begin September 1st. As I said, excellent teacher, has done very good work as a dean with Mrs. Buckman, has been around the district, and just one small additional thing that he did that has impressed us and impressed the committee. For 3 years on his own, he developed a mentoring relationship to prepare himself for this on his own. Now, he got good mentoring from people like Mrs. Buckman and others, but he did this all on his own, and I think it has made him stronger. So in addition to all of the teachers, I would ask for your consideration to have Mr. Cowart join us. He's going to start at Kalfas, but he's probably not going to end up there for very long, as I've told him. But I'm glad to welcome him to the ranks and ask you for your support of him and all of those staff members on the personnel report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Any other questions? I have a motion and a second for the report with the addendum. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Yes. Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Villardo?
Yes.
Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 4.07 personnel report classified. We have an addendum for that one too, right, Maria? Let's bring the addendum in first, please. Have a motion and a second. Mr. Villardo on the motion. Thank you, Nick. Mr. Bass on the second. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, addendum added.
Thank you. Now, 4.07, personnel report classified with the addendum. Thank you, Mr. Pareto. Mr. Bilson, questions? Call the roll, please.
May I make a comment before again, please?
Of course, Mark.
Thank you. You know, let's just talk quite frankly here. We have a belief in this district that our students need to see people who, in professional positions that look like them. I'm talking about black and brown individuals. And we've made a consistent and conscious effort to hire and find those that represent our kids and put them in schools, to see them as role models. And in the classified report, I'd like to point out the significance of one of the hirings that we're doing in this report of a black young lady. You know that we are grounded and guided by Becky and Julie, two of the best there are. But to be able to have an accountant, a minority female accountant, come to our staff shows a continued commitment from this board, and I'm asking you to support this, to bring men and women of color in high-level positions in schools and in central office. We are fortunate to get someone of this young lady's quality as an accountant. We are fortunate that she's a city resident already and that she works for an auditing firm. So Becky and Julie can't do it alone. They're dealing with $250 million worth of funds. So I just want to illustrate that point, that we are hiring a lot of good classified and certificated. But we are now able to hire a couple of individuals in high leadership positions that represent the black and brown community of the city. And I would encourage your vote of yes on this classified report. Thank you.
Okay, Mark, thank you for those kind words. We have 4.07, personnel report classified as the addendum in. Mr. Bilson, on the motion, call the roll, please. We already have it.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes. Thank you, Judy. 4.08 and 4.09. 08 is the Committee on Special Ed, and 09 is the Committee on Preschool Special Ed. Motion, please. Thank you, Mr. Bilson. Thank you, Mr. Velardo. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's carried.
Thank you very much. We have several short-term contracts. I'm just going to read them I'm going to read the names very abbreviated so we can get through them. Number 1 is McGraw-Hill. Number 2 is New Punjabi Food. Number 3 is Denise Chapman. Number 4 is Lakeisha Miles. Number 5, African Cultural Center. Number 6, Precision Sound. Number 7, Mr. Ninja Styles. Number 8, Niagara University. Number 9, Christopher Benny. Number 10 and number 11 are Lakeside Quarter Horse. Number 12 is Denise Thurman. Number 13, Niagara Nyacat. Number 14, Big Picture, as we had the presentation. Number 15, Sarah Minton. Number 16, Michael Kirilovich. 17, Cortez Bradbury. 18, Fight Night Boxing. 19, Francis Center for Kindergarten Enrichment. Number 20, Shalonda Wallace. Number 21, Marcus Thurmer. And number 22, Child Advocacy Center. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Velardo and Mr. Pareto on the second. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Wait, what question? I'm sorry. You're up.
One question on the Big Picture program.
Use your microphone. Mr.
Big picture cover, thank you.
The Big Picture Learning Program, is this for the entire year? And are you going to be working with every student, or are you targeting specific students?
Let me try first, and then Nick and Cheryl and our guest. This short-term contract is for the summer training. The bigger resolution is for the full year. They will work with every student in that program. Every student will have mentoring. Every student will have a trusted adult. every student will have the learning to learn. This is for all. And what is your enrollment, Ms. Villardo or Mr. Ruffalo?
120.
We are at 120 students in that program is done. And this big picture in this first short term is only the summer training. The bigger one that's going to come, and I don't know the number, the answers I gave you are hold true. Is that satisfactory?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And I appreciate, well, I've got the mic and I never shut up, but I appreciate Mr. Weiss's comment too, because this has been a partnership with the district and the teachers union. Because I personally have not been a big believer in alternative programs, and asked for two things for an alternative program. One, that it would be housed at Niagara Falls High School. It cannot be separate. I am steadfast in that belief that alternative schools in alternate locations outside of where the kids go, I do not believe in that. Secondly, the union has been very reasonable in saying we can't expect the traditional day. 5 periods, it just doesn't work. So we've gotten those agreements from the union, and now through some additional work, we're bringing this program to you. So I appreciate it. It's only going to scale up where we go with those children. Thanks for the question.
Mark, I'm sorry, Russ, I have one, I apologize. Could you just refresh my memory? What is the Lakeside Quarter Horses, the programs, the 2 sessions?
Yeah, we find horses in the area and we try to bet on them to raise money for the budget. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's the math program, the odds making.
Lakeside Quarter, and I'll ask Mr. Rotella and Ms. Villardo to do this. Lakeside Quarter Horses, Mr. Bilson and everyone, is part of our PS2 program, our Pathways to Success program. This is getting students at the high school who are interested in working with animals, veterinary science, out of the school and going to this location where they deal with, I think there are more than horses or just horses?
It's a working farm, mostly horses.
It's a working farm, mostly horses. And the kids, I mean, we've got some great pictures of this, but it helps to get the kids out there and gets a trainer or a knowing adult to teach them how to work with animals. It's an area that I've talked to Mrs. Villardo and Mr. Rotella about that I'd like to expand in district with a veterinary science program. Like really, in the PS2 world, I want to get to veterinary science because there are so many students that are interested in this, and I can't help but think of the wonderful Alana Harris, who was a graduate last year from Niagara Falls High School, and she just loved it. And kids really eat this up, but it's another PS2 opportunity for kids to get to. And hopefully we'll get a winning horse, and that way we'll not have any budget concerns. So, does that help? Thank you. Thank you for the questions.
Oh, you got the bonus.
And next year OTB comes in, so.
Well, that OTB, we're going to start our own. We're going to have a Capital Cleaners booking parlor where you go in and the odds are 3 to 1 that you'll lose one of my dress shirts. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is when I start to get silly.
He can't help himself.
Carry
He just
on.
can't help himself. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more
did
questions? Pardon me?
We have our motion and second.
Yeah, that's what I said, I think. But anyway. Okay, call a roll.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Villardo? And Mr. Petrosi?
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much, Judy. 4.11 are the Head Start and Early Head Start reports, please. Mr. Villardo, motion? Have Mr. Bass on the second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, reports accepted.
Appreciate it. 601 and 602. One is ZSEA Title I Improvement Planning Grant, and number 602 is the 21st Century Community Learning Centers Prep Grant. Thank you, Mr. Bilson. And Mr. Pareto on the second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Villardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes. Thank you very much. 6.03, Mr. Massaro read the amendment to it. So-
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
6.04 that needs the amendment, not 6.03.
Okay, so I'm going to take 6.03. Thank you, Mr. Massaro. The approval of the code of conduct as amended. Thank you, Mr. Pareto. Second by Mr. Bass. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Appreciate it. So 604, as Mr. Massaro read the amendment, so we're going to vote on the amendment to 604 first. Correct, Mr. Massaro?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Motion, please. Mr. Bass, on the motion. Second, Mr. Pareto for motion to amend. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution amended.
Thank you. 604 is amended, the building level school safety plans, as amended. Thank you, Mr. Bilson. Second, Mr. Valero. Questions? Call the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. 605 is the approval of the comprehensive district-wide safety plan. And we'll take 606, which is the approval of the district comprehensive improvement plan. Motion, please. Mr. Bilson, Mr. Velardo on the second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto? Yes. Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. We're going to take some various contracts, 6.07 and 6.24. 607, 608, and 609 are PLC Associates, LLC. 610, Marion Leonard for elementary math. 611, Big Picture Learning. 612, 612, Curriculum Associates. 613, Aerocar Limo Service. And 614, Niagara Alliance for Restorative Practice. 615, Melinda Syme. 616, Booker College Planning. 617, Native Language Services. 618, Niagara University for Early College High School Programming. And 619, Niagara University for eSports. 620 and 621, Mental Health Associates of Western New York. 622, Bonadeo and Company. 623, Schwab, Immuni, Citron, and Sprout, LLP. 624, Niagara Community Center. Motion by Mr. Bilson, second by Mr. Velardo. Question? Mike?
I do.
You're
Can
up.
we go back up to 6.06? Is there a sum on that amount?
6.06,
I'm sorry, 6.07. There was 15 of them.
PLC Professionals, PLC Associates.
I think that's
Mr.
118.
Laurie? Mr.
If it is, I just didn't hear it, that's all.
607, Rick, this is for PLC. Do you have that?
I believe, Rick, that's the 119.
I don't have the contract in front of me. I think the largest one is 115.
That's the first one, I'm sure, is the largest, and the
Okay.
third one was 50-something.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I want to be clear that I understand Mr. Capizzi's question. Are you asking about 607, Mr. Capizzi?
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a large contract for PLC Associates. This is for staff training. Do you have, is the number 115,000?
I can have that for you in 1 second.
Let me tell you, Mr. Capizzi, that this payment will be made via one of our grants. This does not come out of the general fund budget. Is that correct, Mr.?
Correct.
I believe if you look at, if we're talking about 607, I believe in the provided documentation, it's not to exceed $50,975.
You are correct.
Thank you.
50,975, and the two after 609.
It's in everybody's
is
packet.
119.
Thanks. And again, thank you, Mr. Bilson. And I'm sorry I didn't have it at my fingertips, but I want to reiterate, PLC, I guess this cuts both ways. The reason we get grant money is because we have schools in need of improvement or district need of improvement. That's the bad news. The good news is we get money to offset the cost of the things that the state requires us to do. It will not come out of your $182 million budget. So it is grant funded. Correct, Rick?
Yes.
This is something that Rick oversees. Hope that answered your question.
It does.
Thank you.
Any other questions on those contracts? Okay, so we have 607, 6.07, and 6.24.
I just want to say one more thing to Mr. Capizzi, because I'm glad he asked. You know, there are, because of the status our schools are in, and under the direction of Mr. Corella, there are certain activities that we must do because of our status. This is an activity that's overseen by Rick, but we must do this because we do have two, is it TSI or LSI schools?
We have one TSI school, Niagara Falls High School, and two ATSI schools, 79th Street and Gaskell. And because we have any at all, then the district itself is a TSI district.
So in addition to our graduation rate, what I'm going to talk about, we've got to get these schools off that list, and we will. But the money comes because we're on the list, but I'd rather not get this money, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, something I was curious what the sum was with it, and then it being a grant too.
Yeah, it is a grant.
To be noted.
It is a grant to be noted, but I'm glad you're asking. And again, Rick has a strong presence in making the selections of the programs and recommending to me, and he is the oversight person to make sure that the work done by this company is done with efficacy, efficiency, and for the right reason, and I trust his oversight. Thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody else? Call the roll on that one, please, Judy.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson?
Yes.
Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Yes. Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes, and thank
Motion's
you.
carried.
And we'll take 6.25 to 6.28 together. 6.25, change order number 1 for MLP. 6.26, payment number 6 to MLP. 6.27 is a payment number 1 to DV Brown. And 6.28, I missed, we'll add that one in there as payment number 1 to CIR. Mr. Pareto on the motion. Mr. Bass on the second. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bass?
Yes.
Mr. Bilson? Yes. Mr. Capizzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Pareto?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo? Mr. Petrosi?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. No policies today?
No, sir.
Okay. Other communications, oral communications on non-agenda items? Bishop Dobbs, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Bishop.
I think the last time I was on this side of the table was probably when my daughters were in elementary school. I was a parent coming before the board. But thank you for allowing me this space. I just wanted to come to give you some information on what we're trying to do at the Christ Redemption Tabernacle Church. I am Bishop Dobbs. I live at 716 Seymour Avenue, and I am here to just bring you abreast of to what the Niagara Street Revitalization Committee is doing. And we're part of it. It's a committee that we've been working to serve the community. They asked me to come to the table because, our church is right there. And what we're trying to do is have programs within the community there on Niagara Street, because that side of town is kind of a desert as far as concerning the community and students and parents. And when I did come to the table, I heard that they had wanted to build a building. And so I offered them the use of our building, our school building that we have there on 22nd and Welch. And we've offered it because it's to serve the community in a great way. We're partnering with several individuals. We're partnering with Niagara Blondie Baban School. We've had meetings. We're partnering with the city is going to try to help us with some funding. But I'm coming to the school district because I feel that there's a great need for our students in that area, as well as the parents and the community individuals. So some of the things that we have on the table are, we've been approached by various agencies to have things in the community, health programs. We want to feed people. We want to provide clothing. We'd even like to offer tutoring in any way, shape, form, or fashion, however we can do it. We've reached out to various organizations. We've had some conversations with Niagara University. I've had conversations with the Oshai Foundation, and I've had various conversations with other individuals who are coming to the table to help us to get some programs started. So I feel it would be advantageous if we can I'm coming to the school board because I feel that you could be a great help to us in helping us either with programming or just coming, seeing what the facility is about, what we could use, and how you could be a help to us. So it's just an approach. It's just a very, very small overview that I'm coming to bring to you. But you know, I'm one of those individuals that the superintendent was talking about. You know, oftentimes people come to the district and ask the district, what is the district going to do for them? But I feel that we have to do as much as we can for our constituents in our community. And I'm offering our building, I'm offering our time, I'm offering everything that we possibly can do to make that happen. Our church has invested money, and we're still invested money in the facility. We're in the process of putting a brand new roof on it right now. But I'm excited about what the possibilities are. And I want you to know that we're here to help out in any way possible. And I want you to know that it would be wonderful to have you to join us in any effort or any way possible to help us to attain some of those things. Now, I can give you an overview of what we're doing, but I just, I can put it on paper and make sure that you have that, because we have a lot of things in place, but we're just pursuing them now. One other thing on the last note, I've had some very, very good meetings with Niagara University, and right now we're hoping that we'll be receiving some development funds from the city. They'll be voting on it next month, and that'll help us with some of the the structural things that we need to do in the building. So I just want you to know that I appreciate the time. I appreciate the opportunity to come and just let you know what I'm doing. I have a lot of information, and I want you to know that you can ask me at any time. Get in touch with me, and I'm willing to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Your steeple looks beautiful.
Yes.
Did you paint it? That steeple of his church, I don't know if anyone's been down Niagara Street.
I saw him working on it.
It's a phenomenal, looks beautiful.
I didn't paint it. We got a grant from the county, and it's not paint. It's a certain paint. It's a paint, but it's not a paint on the very top. There's this material that's supposed to last something like 60 years, so for the bottom. So they constructed it, and so we're moving forward,
Nice
to make an impact in the community, and that's what we're trying to do. So more to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Bishop. Okay, that takes care of the speakers. Mr. Laurie, you are up.
Yeah, thank you very much. I do have a bit of a lengthy report, and it's, I know we do have a number of people who watch this, so I want to give my update on the opening of schools. But before we do that, I wanted to address the speaker, Bishop Dobbs. Bishop, first of all, thank you for your community leadership. Thank you for your personal support of me. You're a good man and a great community leader. I will be telling you, and I don't want to get too much into this evening, but you will be getting a visit from Ms. Villardo and Mr. Rotella about a high school program that we have been talking about in the Niagara Street area. And it deals with connecting some disenfranchised high school students that I think that could be right in line with what you're talking about. So you can expect a call from the high school administrators, which I've asked them to do sometime after they get the building open or what they have to do. But I think it's right in line with what you're saying. Secondly, to Bishop Dobbs and to Mrs. Brundage and Mr. Marino from Bond, we are opening up a family support center there through their leadership and Rick's leadership. And I know Bishop Dobbs has served on the committee to bring all kinds of resources to that location and that building. And they meet regularly. I do get the minutes. I was at one meeting, but I trust the administrators to lead that, and they're doing some really good things. And it was a particular reason why we put the Family Support Center at Niagara Street. Bond. And we appreciate your support in doing that. So you will be getting a call just about something we haven't talked much about, but the high school administrative team will be in touch with you. Okay. Next, just a couple of thank yous. First of all, congratulations, Alan. You're here. Wave your hand so people can see who you are. That's Alan. Congratulations. Now, Alan, there's a lot of administrators here. What they try to do to new administrators is say, like, you have to bring the donuts to every meeting. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Zimmerman's in charge of all of that. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, Alan. Don't let them say, you're the new guy, do this. Don't. They like to do that, you know? They like to do that. But seriously, congratulations. Way to go. We're proud of you. We're happy for you. I want to mention just one other staff member, teacher. His name is Josh Egan. Josh was here with the wrestling program a couple of months ago. We had a very, very unfortunate incident in the after school hours yesterday at LaSalle Prep. Very unfortunate incident. That obviously it's been well documented and publicized with a couple of kids, and really concerns me. I have to tell you, it concerns me. It concerns us greatly. That violence has got to stop. We've got to put all of our best foot forward, all of our energy. It has to stop. We can't afford to keep saying that. We can't afford to say thoughts and prayers. We can't afford to be going to say. We can't. It can't happen. It can't happen. However, I just wanted to call on Josh Egan, a phys ed teacher, phys ed health at high school. Josh was there as a spectator or a participant in the football. Before the ambulance and first responders could respond, Josh administered some first aid. So I want to congratulate and thank Josh Egan. I want to tell you that I'm super proud that we are going to announce the high school graduation rate. And when we announce it, it's not just the high school team, it's every one of those administrators and teachers that has moved the high school graduation rate to 85.5%. 85.5%. Doesn't mean we're going to rest on our laurels. It was 83.5% last year. It will not be acceptable until the first number in that graduation rate is a 9. And then the second number is a high number. So congratulations, way to go. We went from 67% to 85.5%, but we're not there yet. So there is the statement, and we are going to get there. I also want to thank our administrative team that is here with us today. I appreciate your support in being here. It's recognized and noticed. Thank you for all you've done to get our schools ready. I really have hands off. They make sure their buildings are ready, and they are. I want to talk a little bit about safety to the community that's listening. We continue to, what I call, build a scaffolded safety approach to our schools. Last year, we introduced Raptor and Evolve in all schools. Tomorrow, Ray, Chief Del Porto, and myself are going to look at a new product. It's called Zero Eyes. Zero Eyes works off of our camera system. It is not facial recognition. It is not facial recognition. It goes off of our camera system and will pick up a weapon outside. Unfortunately, some of these disgusting human beings that commit those crimes get their weapons ready outside, and this will pick it up through our camera system. So I'm very interested in bringing that demonstration to you as a board, but really Ray has to vet it for the technology, and we're meeting about that. We have 5 school resource officers. We've added an elementary uniformed police officer, which I think will be helpful. We've added safety officers in a number of elementary schools, which I think will be great. We had an emergency training day for our athletes the 11th of August, and it was fantastic. Tony Cerise led it. What they simulated was, what if the Damar Hamlin situation were to happen on our field? What if that's happened in our pool? What if that happened in our basketball court? Do we all know how to respond? So it was very, very well done, very well attended. Our fire department was there. Our safety officers were there. Chief Del Porto was there. It was our coaches, our athletic coaches and their kids brought their kids to do it. And Tony Cerise, who led it, was talking about how great our kids were. I want parents to know, athletes, that we have that in place. Finally, in terms of safety, kudos again to Chief Del Porto and Maria and Dr. Civaroli. We have, or will, by September 15th, have put 90% of the staff through CPR, AED, and Heimlich. Now that's course 1. 90% of the staff will go through that. That's course 1. Course 2 will be to certify all of our staff. Many of them will be getting it during the orientation next week. Jumping to transportation. Those that are watching, the bus schedules for those who qualify will be mailed next Tuesday, the 29th of August. Bus schedules the 29th of August. To parents that are watching, in the month of September, we will be doing a soft pilot of a GPS system on every bus. How does that help a parent? Parents will be able to download an app on their phone and find out where their child's bus is. I think that's going to be a real game changer for some of the transportation frustrations we have. That will come in October. We want to softly pilot that in September. Let's move ahead to sports. Highest turnout ever of fall athletes. We are close to, from modified to varsity, 120 football players. A tennis team, girls tennis team with 25. A golf team, 25 golfers, and only 1 broken window so far. But it's true. I guess it was a 5-foot chip, and they chipped it 55 yards. So we got work to do. We got work to do, but we have 25 golfers, which is great. I heard this story yesterday, and I just want to share this about our coaches and our staff. A young lady came out for the golf team. She walked out and had 4 golf clubs. And by the end of the day, she had a bag and a full set of golf clubs. Those are the things that never get reported, but those are the things that happened. So, and she didn't break the window. It was probably someone else who did. I also want to mention that Kevin has begun providing lunch, a cafeteria lunch for all of our athletes at 12 o'clock at the high school. I heard it's gone very well. 12 to 1 last week and this week, so kids can eat. We will be doing dinner at the high school for athletes for all teams. And the next phase of that is going from the normal food to serving food that have the right proteins and macros. I do know a little bit about that, even though I don't follow it, for our kids. That goes in line with a recommendation I'm going to make for a strength and conditioning coach and a nutrition coach at the high school. But we've moved through for that, and we are going to have dinner for all, training and study tables for our athletes, which I'm really excited about. We had an audit committee. Today, Drescher and Malecki will start their external audit on the 18th of September. You will have it on the 19th of October. I don't anticipate any problems with the audit. I do want to hold this up because I'm proud of this. I'm proud of it for Becky and Julie. In the months of February through June of last year, the district spent $40 million. $40 million. We had five, and that's five too many, confirmatories or payments that needed correction. Out of 2,004 packets, we had five. Five is too many, but that's 0.25%. And I know some board members will recall when we used to have 55. So we've made improvements under Becky's leadership. Thank you. I want to mention this because I've received many calls. Niagara Falls School District has not received any of the migrant children that you may be hearing about in Sweet Home or Cheektowaga. Now, if we were to, that is not within my power to deny education. We don't have that authority. Now, I have a personal and professional opinion about what I think is a scattershot approach to bringing migrant individuals here. I don't think it's fair to them, but we have not received any, and I don't foresee through my communications migrant children coming, even though we do have a very strong ELL program, as you all know. But we have not received them, and I heard today that the governor is not forcing cities or school districts to take them. And I'm as a human being, I feel for people, but there's got to be a more systematic approach than what's going on right now in our government. Congratulations on our clothes closets. All of these administrators and our team has done a great job with the clothes closets. I'm excited to reiterate what Rick said about phonics teaching. I thought he did a great job articulating how much we teach phonics. School opens September 7th. That's 2 weeks from today. I can hear a collective roar in the city of parents. We are phasing in Niagara Falls High School, so it's 9th and 10th graders. It's been a successful way to do things, and then our pre-K students start the following week. A couple of additional, Rick did a great job with the courses, but a couple of additional quick things. We are partnering with Stanford University. Yes, the Stanford University. Yes, Stanford University in Palo Alto, California, for a college course on artificial intelligence, particularly aimed at our black and brown students that will be able to gain college credit. We have not forgotten, nor are we stopping our partnership with North Tonawanda. On September, I want to say the 28th, North Tonawanda and Niagara Falls High School students will do their first activity at the Underground Railroad. So that activity has not been ceased. We will continue to do that. I'm proud of that. The Niagara Area Heritage Center is putting together an absolutely beautiful, stunning mural in the main office at Niagara Falls High School that shows two students passing the light to each other. It's stunning, and you have to see it, but it talks about our acceptance. And that's what we're really about teaching, is acceptance, understanding, and working with each other. The high school also has plans to bring in Open Buffalo, and as I look at Cynthia out there, I think that the Historically Black College tour will again occur in March, and they're going to do Atlanta colleges only. We decided we're going to stick it, Georgia. We're only going to do Georgia colleges this year, and there's 5 of them. I'm almost done. I want to thank everyone for their work this summer. Appreciate all of your attendance. Thank you, Dan, for your support of the big picture and speaking. Bishop Dobbs, thank you. I'd like to tell everybody, if you don't like me being up here, he's one of the main reasons that I'm hired, because he told me to just act like myself, so I act like myself, goofy, and say whatever comes out of my mind. Do you remember that day? Yes, I do. So I just try to be who I am, and like it or not, you got to accept it. It's all Bishop Dobbs' fault. We'll end with that. Board, it's been a quick summer. It's been a quick summer. I want to conclude by saying thank you for your continuous support. Administrators, Alan, you don't have to participate in this. September 24th, I'll be starting my 40th year. Don't let them tell you got to get me a cake or something. I'll be starting my 40th year, 40, my 40th year here in the district. And I will tell you, I know I look, it's like 47, don't I? I will tell you, I would never, and I told the new teachers this morning, this is a great place to work, live, and raise your children and put your children through school. It's a great place to do that. And I'm proud, and I'm just thankful to all of you for your support of me. I'm not always right. I do make mistakes. I need to be reflective of that, and I ask everybody to continue to join me in support. Thanks for all the additional time. Let's have a very, very good opening of school. We do have open houses are predominantly on the 31st of August. It's a week from Thursday. Niagara Falls High School is the 31st. There are other schools that have it as well. And let's get the community to come in and see our schools. Please come in and see our schools. Please, please, please. You'll see good things. Let's be safe and let's work together and let's have the best year ever. Thank you, board members. I'm done.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. All right, we'll go around the table. Colleagues, Clara?
I just want to congratulate Mr. Coward. You're a great addition to that position in our district. He's visible in our community. He works hard in his church. I think you're going to be very good in our community, bringing value and even bringing our community together. So you have a very big, important role. I support you, congratulate you, pray for you, and God continue to bless you. As Mr. Laurie said, it's always been, I've always said it's important to me. We talk about our children seeing our faces, and we can't often hire black teachers. But I see on the personnel report, based on what Mr. Laurie said, this district has made great improvement in hiring minorities since I've been on this board. And as Mr. Laurie said, he's aware of it. We're not there yet, but we are moving in the right direction. Thank you for acknowledging that, and I look forward to seeing more minority hires in our district. Thank you.
Thanks, Clara. Mike?
Yeah, thanks, Russ. As Mark said, it's hard to believe that we're already at the end of August. It's been a few months since this board's been together, but it seemed like yesterday. But I look forward to a very productive year. And also, too, I want to congratulate Mark and Maria on this personnel report. I know it took months to get this together, and it looks very, very impressive. So, job well done on that. And then to all the administrators, it's nice to see all you guys here. Good luck on the opening for school, and as always, you always have the board support.
Thank you, Mike. How about Earl?
To echo Ms. Dunn, congratulations. I know that you worked hard to get to where you are, and I appreciate your dedication to our students. Also, thank you to all our staff for their hard work over the summer. Sad to see summer come to an end, but I know some parents would be happy about 2 weeks. I'm gonna miss the heat though. I like the warrant. But I'm looking forward to a great school year. I think we've made some strides as a board and as our staff. We work together to do some pretty significant things. I think adjusting our elementary day is going to pay off in the future. Thank you to NFT for being flexible and working with us for that. And just looking forward to another great year.
Appreciate that, Earl. Thank you. Rob.
Well, thanks to everyone that involved with making sure today was a great meeting. Great presentation by everybody. I echo everyone's thoughts. Congratulations to all on your new roles and your new jobs, and to the pending retirements. Thank you for your service. Yeah, just congratulations. I had a week off last week, and I got to cruise around the city, a little staycation, and I saw a lot of filled parking lots at the schools, which showed me we have a lot of staff that are working hard already, getting those schools ready for our kids. So thank you to all of you for being out there. Just a great meeting, great summer. Looking forward to a new year. I know you're all going to do a great job, and thanks for making us proud. And one last item. If my math is correct, and I learned my math in the Niagara Falls School District, so I hope I'm right, 1983 was your first year teaching. Just a couple of great hits from 1983. Every Breath You Take, The Police was #1. Billie Jean, #2. Flashdance, Down Under, Beat It. I could see Mark getting ready for his first day at school, listening to Man Eater by Hall & Oates, possibly, or no. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me by Culture Club. These are some hits. So if anybody wants to mark Lori 40th anniversary playlist, the hits from 1983.
Okay. It was, Mr. Massaro, calm down, will you? Easy. One of the
I came up with that on the fly while I was still listening to
First of all,
talking.
I had thank you, Rob. I remember the first day, it was, God rest his soul, it was Bill Duff and I starting together, and Carrie Mitchell, another person influential in my life, hired me. Bill, she said, we have a job at Gaskell, we have a job at LaSalle, and Bill Duff and I were there, and he said, which one do you want to pick? I said, I went to Gaskell, I'll go there. So that's how we did it, and was friends with Bill and Carrie, the late Bill Duff and the late, great Carrie Mitchell. Those were the first two people, and of course my dad. But Rob, I had a very impressive afro back then. Very impressive afro. I did. A very impressive afro that I had. We got pictures. I was, Mr. Bradley, I think it is. You, Bradley? Rob, you started. I had a big afro, and I was thinking I was really cool. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry, Russ.
Ray, next meeting up on the screen, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Nick.
I just want to wish all our students and teachers and non-clerical or instructional staff a very successful 23-24 school year, and everyone keep safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Tony?
Okay, I'll try not to keep this place any longer than Mark has already tonight.
3 minutes.
I know. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Coward for his position. I know he's worked very hard, and he does a lot for this community, and I'm proud to support him. And again, putting everything together, all the personnel moves, the financial moves, the instructional moves, you folks do a huge job, and you guys do it well. Our administrators and our NFT staff, as well as all the way to our folks that keep everything spit, polished, painted, cleaned, and everything. We thank you as board members, and I thank you personally for all the hard work you do. And I've been in some of the schools already, and they're ready to go, and I'm very impressed. Like I said, certain people in this community like to put us down. Okay. They have an opinion. They can keep it. But I know the hard work we do. I know the hard work that our superintendent is doing, and staff, and administrators, to make everything as smooth as we can and try to accommodate all the different people and all the different folks that we have here in this city. And no, it is not perfect. We are not perfect. But we work hard at it to make it good for our children, because that's what this job's all about, is our children. And like I said, we put down, we might get knocked down, but we know we stand back up again. And I'll stand with you, and so will my board members. We will stand with everybody here to make it a good place to learn, or an excellent place to learn. And as for the Mark Laurie Afro thing, yes, he was my football coach in 1981. Yeah. Freshman, we had freshman football back then. And we used to tease the heck out of him.
Okay. Obviously, you can see why Tony became an electrician and not a football player.
Yes, because of his tutelage, I could have been a contender. But anyways, no. But anyways, he did have it very tight.
Russ, help me.
But again, everybody, good luck to our opening. I'm pretty sure it'll go smooth, and it's because of the hard work of all you great folks. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. That leaves me. I will be very brief. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. We're here to help you. We're here to listen to your ideas. Please don't make yourself scarce. Mr. Coward, good luck, sir. We wish you the very best. Thank you to all our staff for all their preparations, all through the schools, the administrative staff, and everyone. We thank you. Good luck to all of us. Let's hope it's a good year and one of the best years. And a quick thank you to my board members, my colleagues. Thank you for the honor to serve you as president this year. I do appreciate that. Saying that, we are going to adjourn tonight's meeting in the member of the following: Ralph Carucci, former junior and senior high school teacher, principal, and school district supervisor, and Dr. Kate Mahar, former chief educational administrator and principal. Motion to adjourn, please. Mr. Velardo, appreciate it. Second, Mr. Bass. All in favor? Good night, everybody.